Hi, I'm Max. I'm the creator behind Eat the Rich Art, and I use he, him, and they, them pronouns. And today I am mixing things up a bit. It is November 3rd. So what I've decided to do this month is I'm going to combine how much yarn can I use in a month with my monthly makes together to make a video and see if that's more interesting for you guys to watch. I already have some stuff to show you. So what I've done is I've gone through my entire yarn stash, including the new stuff that I bought at the Creative Craft Show at the NEC. I've put it all in a spreadsheet because I'm that kind of person. By brand, by the weight of the yarn, so the thickness of the yarn, by like what sort of sub-brand it is, and then how many grams I've got of it. Also by colour, like just so I know which ball to log. So yeah, I've done that. And all in all, when I started this, when I did that spreadsheet, I had 91 balls of yarn. Now we're already down nearly under 90. So on the 1st of November, I didn't crochet anything. That's why I'm joining you on the 3rd, because I didn't have an update yesterday to say how much yarn I used on the 1st. Then yesterday was the 2nd. I've been adding to my star blanket because I got a couple new balls that matched the existing star blanket. So where we left off last time I showed you guys this blanket was this row here, so this tiny thin row of purple above the grey. So I've added, as you can see, quite a few rows. So this row here of the like sort of messy mottled purple and teal. So that is the So Crafty Aldi rainbow yarn in the blue colourway. And this is 100 grams. Is it going to give me a yardage? Some 4-weight yarn apparently. Don't know if that means anything to anyone. And approximately 175 meters of yarn in that. So I'm not going to record the meters or the yardage or whatever because I've got some like tiny scraps that I don't want to measure. Like I've weighed everything to see like how much I've got left in balls, and some balls I've like, instead of just writing 100 grams down, if it's weighed in at 109, I've recorded 109 grams because you can do a lot with 9 grams of yarn. But anyway, all that to say, that is one ball that I've completely used yesterday. And yeah, that is everything I have to tell you today. So that means that so far this month I've used 100 grams of yarn and just over 100 grams of yarn technically, and one ball, which means we're down to 90 balls. And once I'm done with this one, it will be 89. Hello, it is November 4th and I used some yarn up yesterday, so I'm on track with my goal, but we'll get on to that in a second. First of all, what I made yesterday. So I started off by finishing off what I was doing yesterday morning when I checked in with you. Let's find the good part of the blanket. Where is it? Where you can see all of the colours. There we go. So that is the Aldi ombre yarn added on to the blanket, and then the Aldi rainbow yarn under it, and the random scraps I picked up from a different shop to start the blanket. But that is the blanket done with all of the yarn that I wanted to add to it. So that's 2 balls used in total this month, one of them used yesterday. Another 100 grams. The next thing I did was I made a derpy. And he is derpy. I'll link this pattern in the description, it's a blog post. But yeah, he didn't actually end up using up any yarn, which I was like kind of disappointed about. That was project 2. No more yarn finished at that point. So I was like, well, I want to finish another ball because it's the 3rd and I've only finished 2 balls of yarn. And I'd like to finish one a day. So I grabbed yarns that I had small scraps of that I had a clear plan for. And that was my next things that I did So I started off with, I mean, I already had most of the colours out anyway for Derpy. The only colour I had to get out fresh was teal. So I thought, well, I've got the pinks out, I'll make a pink BMO. So that's him. I did have to grab some yarn out of the yarn that I've destashed to do the cross, which is why it's slightly glittery and quite small. And then that yarn's gone back in the donation bag. So yeah, I've used a bit of a black cotton scrap that I had to embroider. That's not in the list of yarns. Because if it's less than like 2 or 3 grams, like if I've not got enough to make a project out of it, I don't bother recording it because I've got so many just little scraps I keep for embroidery. Anyway, yeah, black cotton, yellow acrylic that has been re-destashed, and then some more of the chenille there to try and finish it off. And this did end up nearly using up the dark pink. I've still got some light pink left, but that's fine because I'll use it for noses on rats. And then the dark pink I have left is this. So I'm going to count this ball as done. I'm counting this ball as used because what am I going to do with that? Like, that's not even enough for a row on something. So I'll add that to the bag of scraps that I use either for embroidery or for stuffing and count it as done. So that is 2 balls finished yesterday. I'll tell you the grammage and stuff in a second. A BMO. Then I thought, well, I'm making BMOs anyway. So I grabbed the teal out and I made a teal BMO. And again, same as before, black cotton that I used, re-destashed yellow yarn, and then some more of the chenille to finish them off. I've not finished the light blue either. I've still got quite a lot of that and I've got no idea what I'm going to do with it. So yeah, I made a BMO, and that nearly finished the teal up. But by the time I was done with him, I still had enough yarn left that it was still holding a little cake shape. So I was like, it's not a good amount of yarn for me to just say, yeah, that ball's finished. Like, there was still just slightly too much there for me to be comfortable just using it as a scrap. So I tried to make a second BMO, got 3 rounds in and went, I've not got enough yarn. So I made a very tiny Perry the Platypus instead. I'm going to stick him on a keychain. So yeah, this is more of that black cotton. I've got a tiny scrap of white cotton as well. Bit of the yellow acrylic that I've kept for ducks, for the feet as well. The rest of the teal got used up, and then a bit of the dark brown that I've got left to make his hat and his tail. So that was, in total, 5 projects finished yesterday. 3 balls of yarn finished. Let me grab my spreadsheet up so I can tell you what grams that was. I did also edit my spreadsheet yesterday so that it tells me the grams I've used in November and the grams I've got left. That took bloody ages to work out. I hate Google Sheets. Like, their formula just don't make sense. But anyway, that's the tism for you. But so currently in November I have used 4 balls of yarn. That is 234 grams of yarn used. And we had 91 balls of yarn because I found a ball of yarn that I didn't count. So that's been added on. So out of those 91 balls of yarn, we have used 4, which means we have 87 left to use. And that added up to 7,556 balls of yarn. No, 7,556 grams of yarn, and we've used 234 grams so far. So that was 100 grams each for the Audi balls, then 16 grams in the teal and 18 grams in the bubblegum pink. Out of the stash and done. Remember the 5th of November. We have 1 more ball of yarn used. So I made my big Bronto and I made a little derpy loaf cat out of the remaining 30 odd grams. So if anyone's wondering how many grams it takes to make 1 small loaf cat in Himalaya Dolphin Big, it's 36, I think, grams of yarn. And then this guy took just under 200. I have said in the yarn review that I filmed yesterday that he took like 170, but I realised after I added the ball of yarn to my yarn usage that the ball I got of Himalaya Big was actually 230 grams, not 200. So he took just under 200, like 190 something, and then this was the spare. So yeah, that is one ball used yesterday for 230 grams of yarn, which gives us a total balls used so far of 5, a total projects so far in November of 6 projects in November, 5 balls used in November, and 464 grams of yarn used so far. So we've got 86 balls remaining in the stash of varying sizes and 7,059 grams left to use. We're doing well. Rightio, it's the 6th of November today. I'm actually wearing clothes for once instead of cosy things. And I didn't end up making much yesterday because, so I think I'd started this when I started filming yesterday morning. But this is the progress on the cardie, and as you can see there's still at least half, if not more, of the ball left. So I didn't finish the ball, which means that I didn't finish any balls of yarn yesterday because I was working my little wrists off trying to get most of the way at least through that ball, and that didn't happen because there is so much yardage in those balls. So review of that coming at some point. Hello, it's the 7th. So here is your update. I finished 2 balls of yarn yesterday. Let me grab the spreadsheet up before I forget. We're on a slightly different setup today because my partner's using the tripod. So we have you balanced on my desk. Yarn usage. Cool. Yes, I used 2 balls of yarn yesterday for a total of 135 grams of yarn used up. Obviously I didn't use all of that yesterday. I have been working on the hexicardie throughout the week. I think I used about 40 grams, maybe 50 yesterday of the rainbow yarn, so about 80 in total. But yeah, so that means in total for November we have 7 balls used and 599 grams in total. That does come with a slight caveat. So the first thing I made yesterday was the squid. He's only on the camera, can't actually pick him up. He's adorable, I love him, I love making these, and I love making them in this yarn. I do have this much left of it, and that looks like quite a big scrap to say that the ball's used, but what am I going to do with this much neon pink, super chunky acrylic yarn? Realistically, it's not enough for another squid. It's not enough for even half a squid. I've not got anything I can pair with it to make stripes because I've not got anything that's the same weight or the same texture. So I'm just gonna use this for scrap and stuffing, I think, because I can't really do anything else with it. So that's why I'm saying the ball's used, even though there's this much left of it. But we did have 1 squid made out of that. And then the other thing, excitingly, even though yesterday I said I wasn't sure I'd be able to use up a ball of the rainbow yarn, I did. So I've attached the new ball to the cardie, and this is where we're at now. Hello, it is the 8th of November, which means that today I am off to London. So yesterday I used 1 ball of the rainbow yarn, so that was 105 grams because it was slightly heavier than it should have been. and that means that overall in November so far we've used 8 balls of yarn and we've used 704 grams in total. That gives us 83 balls of yarn left in the stash and 6,828 grams left in the stash. Hello and good day. Bit of a change of location, and I'm sorry if you can hear the cat because she only ever does this as soon as I start filming. It is November 9th today. I went to London yesterday. I saw the Hunger Games stage show. It was great. If you're not a fan of modern dance, you probably won't like it. And that's all I'll say. We did get some yarn used up yesterday because we didn't leave for London till 2 p.m. So I got the start of a deer done. So they're the antlers. And then I say the start of a deer. I got most of the deer done. This is the body. It's not stuffed yet and the head's not finished yet. This is the second ball of yarn. So this was a full ball of yarn when I started. There's not much left of it and this head's quite big. So I think a yarn order is in order next week. Did also continue to work on the cardi yesterday. I'm still on the first half. I think I've got 1 round left and then I'll start on the sleeves. Right, hello. It is the 10th. I'm doing quite well at remembering to check in every day, aren't I? I didn't think I'd do alright, but here we are. So yesterday I had a bit of a chill day, which was nice. However, for me a chill day does mean a day where I just crochet all day and don't really do anything else. So I don't know if you guys would count that as chill or not, but here we are. So I did a bit more on this guy. As you can see, I've stuffed his body. His head's still squishy though. He's still got, I've just whacked them in there because I don't want to lose them. I've run out of vanilla fudge. So I've tried to place an order this morning and it just won't go through. Hopefully nothing's wrong and it's just a problem with their site. Cross fingers, because if they don't have this in stock, I am going to go slightly insane. But we'll see. Anyway, yeah, did him yesterday. Then the next thing I did was I finished this side of the cardi. So as you can see, there is, well, apart from that end I need to weave in, there is no yarn left on this cardi. Well, this half of the cardi. So did that, and then I started. Then just to finish the ball off, I've started on this side. So that is what was left of the ball. I'm very glad because the place where I left off on the ball on this side was perfect. If you can see the middle there, to get the same bit of the gradient in the middle. Spot on. I finished 2 balls of yarn yesterday, so that gets us to. It's always helpful if I actually pull the spreadsheet up before I start talking to you, but I didn't. There we go, it's loaded. So currently my totals are, I have used 11 balls out of 91, so I've got 80 balls remaining, and then obviously that's going to go up a little bit once I place this yarn order, but it's fine. Yeah, 11 balls used total and 922 grams used total, which leaves us with 6,615 grams left of yarn. So I have about 6 kilos left of yarn, which isn't bad, all things considered. And that means we've done 7 finished I'll come back on screen. There we go. 7 finished projects and 2 whips so far this month, which means we've done basically a project a day, because that's 9 in total. Obviously, the deer is now on pause and the cardi is very ongoing. That'll probably take me another 2 or 3 days to get through. Plus then I've got to lengthen the sleeves and do all of that and do all of the ribbing around it. I think the ribbing alone is going to take me a couple of days, and I might just say fuck it and not do it. But we'll find out. Anyway, that's enough from me. That's enough rambling. I've got to go to work because it's a Monday. So I'm going to get to work. See you in a bit. Right, yesterday was the 10th. I made 2 mushrooms. They're for Travel Crochets challenge thingy. So they are tushrooms. They're up on the Ko-fi. Yeah, got little faces. This one, I don't know what happened, but I couldn't space his eyes properly in his mouth, and now his mouth is kind of connected to his eyes, but it's fine. And this guy also has Elise Voluto in him this time, so, because I ran out, well, I thought I ran out of the yarn smiths. And then I realised after I'd already finished making the cap that I have a full ball of yarn smiths red. But anyway, he's got a little bit of yarn smiths right on the top, and then the rest is Elise Voluto. The Elise was really nice to work with, actually. But more on that in the yarn review that's coming. So 2 tushrooms, 2 more projects, and I finished 2 balls of yarn because I finished the little scrap of yarn smiths red I had, and I finished the flesh colour. So the other thing I worked on yesterday was the other half of my cardi. But as usual, when I'm in the first few rounds of the cardi, it takes ages to use any yarn up. Apparently, I don't know why that is, because you'd think that if I'm making the same amount of stitches at the same speed, that I'd use the ball up quicker, or at least at the same speed as I do when I get to the outer rounds. But I don't know, maybe I just didn't crochet for as long as I thought I did yesterday, at least on the cardi. Anyway, I'll probably end up finishing that ball off today. So that means yesterday I used 2 balls of yarn, which puts us at 13 balls used total in November, 973 grams used in November, so we're close to the kilo. We're getting really close to that kilo. And I added to my spreadsheet, right? So now, let me hold it up in a way that you can see. So this is how my spreadsheet works, right? So all the way over here, this is all of my yarn and the grams and an idea of what I'll probably use it for and stuff like that. So then here we have the balls used and the grams used and all of that. I've just realised it might end up being mirrored for you. If it is, I'm sorry. But we've got, yeah, balls and grams and all of that. And it counts. I managed to do all of the, so it's got fancy calculations in it. So it's got, it'd be helpful if it actually let me do anything. So yeah, it counts how many balls I've got in total, how many balls I've got remaining, how many I've used, how many used in November, the same for the grams. And then I added over here a list of the projects and when I've started and finished them. And it counts, it's done this again, hang on. So then it counts how many I've got in total on the go. I've not added the hexie blanket into this yet. And then it counts how many I've finished in November, which gives me an idea of the amount of whips I've got as well. So I probably should add that hexie blanket onto the list so that I know that that's still in the whip pile. But yeah, so I've been fancy schmancy, set up my thing, so I'm not gonna be like trying to count at the same time as talking to you from now on. That does mean we have 10 finished projects in November, 13 projects in total once I've added the hexie blanket. Not bad going at all. Good day. It is the 12th. We're back on the sofa because disability. Yesterday I didn't get any amigurumi done, which means that I only worked on the cardi. I finished a ball while doing that. I'm still in the first set of repeats. It's just taking ages. So I've got another ball to fasten on. I've got 2 days with a lot of meetings, like I said. So this means that we are on 14 balls used in total in November, 1,078 grams used in total, 12 projects total, 10 projects finished. The deer should be finished today or tomorrow, depending on when the yarn gets here, because we're off to my parents this afternoon. So if the yarn doesn't get here before I go to my parents, then it won't be finished. But we'll see. 13th. Let's go. I did finish this guy. So he's all done now. He's massive. He's got a little tail. This was a free pattern by Marissa's Toys, I think, on Instagram. Link will be down there. So that's him done. I got a bit more done on the cardi, but not what I wanted to, because what I wanted to do was finish that set of repeats. I've not. I've still got 2 rows left. So yeah, that is what I did yesterday. I didn't finish any balls of yarn off. I did start a ball. Hello, we're back at the desk on the 14th of November. Yeah, I've dropped my progress down a lot the past couple of days, even though I thought I'd be ramping it up. Don't know what happened there, but here we are. Hopefully it picks up this weekend. But there was 2 things I did yesterday. I made more progress on the cardi. I still haven't finished the ball of yarn I was working on. And I made a Remy. It's ended up a little goofier than the last one. I don't know why, but there we go. That did use up the little scrap of pink I had, as well as another little scrap that I had in my scrap bag that was like this long. So I've used that up, and I've used up the like 4 grams or something that I had in the spreadsheet, which means that we've used 15 balls of yarn in November for a grand total of 1,082 grams, and we have finished 12 out of 13 projects so far this month. Hello, it is the 15th of November today. What did I do yesterday? I used 2 balls of yarn up yesterday. So let's get the thingies up. So I finished the small scrap of black chenille that I had, making a cat. I then, after making said cat, let's put him there, decided to make more cats. So we have 4 cats from yesterday. Then I also finished, oh, the tools are stuck in the yarn. I finished this side. Oh, I frogged a bit of it by accident. That's not helpful. Just quickly fix this. Yeah, I finished this side of the cardi, apart from the fact that I've just frogged a few stitches, which means that today I can do the assembly and the finishing the sleeves off. I've just did finish 1 ball of yarn in the process, and then got pretty much halfway through a second ball of yarn, which does mean that now for that cardie I've used 5 full balls of yarn so far, and then I will probably finish that ball of yarn in the process and maybe another one. So the totals for the 15th of November, well, it's the 15th today, so the totals after the 14th of November is, out of 101 balls of yarn, I have 84 left, which means I've used 17 in November so far. I had 8.5 kilos of yarn. I have just under 7.5 kilos left, which means I've used 1,185 grams of yarn. I have started 17 projects in November and finished 16 of them, which means we're now at the point where the items made is higher than the amount of days in the month, which is nice. And yeah, that is what we've done. The cardie so far has taken me 10 days to do the 2 sides, and then it's probably going to take me a day or 2 to finish. So that's like a 2-week project. Hello. Anyone who watches regularly will notice that we're on the sofa, but the background's a bit different. There's no shelves there. What's going on? We had a bit of a move around yesterday, so now my big Kallax unit is downstairs, which means that all of my yarn is no longer crammed into one cupboard. It's in the top of my Kallax unit, but that Kallax also has like my sewing stuff, my embroidery stuff, and my paper craft stuff in it, so still probably could do with more yarn storage. Anyway, yeah, we've been sorting that out, and then I had some friends over yesterday, so I've not got much done. I did, however, manage to finish one ball of the rainbow yarn, and I'm now on the ribbing for the cardie, because yes, I have decided I'm doing the ribbing, because I finally worked out how to do back post, front post ribbing, and it looks quite nice. So that's what I'm up to. 1 ball of the rainbow yarn finished means that, so 1 ball of rainbow yarn used yesterday means that we are at 18 balls of yarn used in total for November, 1,292 grams used in total, and 16 projects finished. Hello, it's the 17th. My cat's being loud again, so I'm sorry. Yeah, 0 progress yesterday. I ended up updating you all at like 3 p.m. yesterday. I spent the rest of the evening working on the ribbing for the cardie, but I didn't finish it. Didn't finish the sleeves. Haven't finished the ribbon around the main bit of the cardie, so I'm not even on to the sleeves yet. And I am seeing a friend tomorrow who has asked me for one of my fishing otters, so I need to get going on that, and I need to make 2 of them because my sister also wants one. So yeah, 2 fishing otters is the name of the game for today. That should mean though that we finish yarn, because I have this little scrap of brown and this little scrap of white left over. Oh yeah, it is the 18th today. So let's show you what I got up to yesterday. So, grab the iPad. I made these 2 guys yesterday, 2 otters, and then I thought, you know what, I've not got much of the scrap of brown left, dark brown, so I made a brown cat as well. So I finished 3 things yesterday, because spoiler alert, yes, I've still not finished that. I've knocked my blanket over. Yeah, I'm still working on the body ribbing. I'm not even onto the sleeves with the cardie, and I didn't finish the ball of yarn that I was on either, so that's probably going to be finished today. I don't know if I'll finish the cardie today because I've still got to work, but we'll find out. Yeah, that means that in total in November we have used 20 balls of yarn, 1,427 grams of yarn, and we've finished 19 projects. So that means that we've got 83 balls left, because I got more yarn off a friend yesterday. No, day before. So I've added those 2 balls to the total. So out of 103 balls, we have 83 left, and out of 8,980 grams of yarn, we have 7,553 grams left to use. Hello, we are here on the 19th of November. Progress has been made. So, this is finished, finally. It's all done. Did the ribbon on the body, did the ribbon on the sleeves, and we're all good. In the process of finishing that, I finished one final ball of the rainbow yarn, and I started on this ball, but I didn't use very much of it because I only needed that in the end for the ribbon on the second sleeve. So I've still got 2 and a bit balls of that yarn. I'll go and pick the other one up in a second. Still got 2 and a bit balls of that one. You can see I have moved things, so now all of my yarn is here. So I finished that, and then I also have made this pouch using one of the balls of yarn my friends gave me. I just need to add the zip onto it and then it's done. So that is 2 more projects finished, but I won't count that one till tomorrow because I did finish that pouch this morning. In total in November, we have finished 21 balls of yarn so far for 1,537 grams. And that is 20 out of 21 projects finished as of yesterday. Obviously 21 finished now that I've finished that one. But yes, welcome to the 20th. Yesterday I used up 1 ball of yarn to make this pouch, and I put a zip in it. So that was 1 full ball of yarn. That was about 200 grams. In fact, I can tell you exactly how much it was. It was 207 grams. And then I got so close, guys. I got so close to finishing 2 balls of yarn yesterday. But stuff happened and I ended up having to frog something I was making like 3 times. So you'll see that tomorrow. But I've been using the James C. Brett Marble Chunky that Christine sent over. So this is the purple and blue colour. It's adorable. I was gonna, my original plan, right, was that my friend who I've made this for originally asked for a hat in this, but A, it wasn't enough yarn, and B, this has ended up a really stiff and awkward fabric. It wouldn't have made a good hat. So made her a pouch, and then obviously she still asked for a hat, so I was like, well, I'll still make you a hat because she loves purple, so this yarn is like perfect. But then I started making this and then realised that she's asked me for a cat ear beanie, but by the time I realised that, I was already like down here and didn't want to frog it. So I finished this and thought, well, I'll stick that on the table and that'd be fine. My original plan was to make the hat out of this yarn and then throw the rest of that yarn into this blanket because it's the perfect colours, but this took most of the ball up and I've still got to make a cat ear beanie out of it. So I started making the cat ear beanie. I've done it in this front post, back post, whatever, ribbon stitch, because I was like, that's cute, let's do that again on the cat ear beanie. Got halfway down it and realised I was going to run out of yarn. So I then had to frog it and go back in and do a basic DK stitch the same way I usually do with my cat ear beanies. Because it uses a little bit less yarn, and I'm hoping I can get all the way down then and then do a couple of rows of ribbon rather than having to do the entire thing of ribbing and then have a fold up brim. Just do ribbon at the end, don't need a fold up brim, so it saves yarn. So yeah, finished 2 projects yesterday, 1 ball of yarn, nearly 2. So I will finish the second ball today, which means that in total so far in November we have used 22 balls of yarn and 1,744 grams over 22 projects. That means that plus all of the new yarn from Christine, which is now lovely and caked and in the thingy, we have ended up, so I had 91 balls originally in my stash, and then through various gifts over this month I have gained quite a few more balls of yarn. So therefore we are up at 116 balls in total that either were in the stash or have been added. There are 94 of those left. And we've used 22 of them, and we're on the 20th of the month. So I think 30 is going to be the aim for balls used this month. Right, hello, it is the 21st of November. You join me on the couch because I'm once again disabled. I made 2 things yesterday. So, finished the hat I was working on. Let's pop it on. This is what it looks like on. It's a little bit big on me. That's because the friend I've made it for has a bigger head than me. So I've made it to make sure that it's got a bit of stretch so that it's comfy for her. So that is the hat that I've got done, and that finished that ball. And it also used just a little bit of the blue in the marble yarn as well, just to finish that last row off. So yeah, finished that ball of yarn. Then I made this guy. This is the Wonder Crochet's reindeer pattern. It's free on their blog. You can find the link to it on their Instagram. So he's just so cute, and this was actually me trying out Parfait Chunky. So yeah, 2 makes finished yesterday. Then the next thing I did was I started on this hat for my partner out of the Signet Breen. As you can see, I ran out of the Signet Breen with the brim left to go on the hat. So luckily it ran out at the perfect time. That it's only the brim that's a different colour. Like this line where the Breen ends is exactly where my partner likes to flip his beanies when it's sitting on his head. So yeah, that's what it looks like with the brim folded up, which I think is still cute. It's a little bit tight on me because he's got a smaller head than me, but this is what it looks like actually on, so it's quite cute. It's not finished though, so this will be probably what I finish today, and I don't know if I'll do anything else just because I want to rest this hand a bit. I've just got, as you can see, I've got to the end of my ball of white there, so I'm going to have to attach another ball of white, maybe do 2 or 3 more rows, and then that's done. But I did finish the ball of Signet Breen, which means that yesterday I finished. Let's have a look. We're on the 21st today. So yesterday I finished the ball of Signet Breen. I finished 2 balls of acrylic white because this is double-stranded, so I've took 1 ball of acrylic white and 1 ball of the Signet through it. So if you do work up with Signet Breen, it won't look like this. This is carried with white. But yeah, so I used up 2 balls of acrylic white, 1 ball of the Signet Breen. I didn't use up any chenille, but I did use up 1 ball of the James C. Breton marble. So that means I finished 4 balls of yarn yesterday, which takes 26 balls used this month. We're on the 21st, so we're 5 balls ahead, which is very nice. We might just about be able to hit the target of 40 balls this month if I can get back to my Yarnsmith chenille, because I've got quite a few small bits of that I can use up. So that is the goal, is to use up all those little bitty bits, or a decent chunk of the little bitty bits. So yeah, so 26 balls out of 116 used in total, which gives us 90 balls left. Gram wise, that means we've used 2,144 grams of yarn out of 11,863, so we've got just under 10 kilos of yarn left, and we have finished 24 out of 25 projects so far this month. Hello, it is the 22nd and I've got a short one for you today. Finished this hat. I didn't finish any more yarn while I finished that. And then the second thing I did was a chunk of another hat because I'm addicted. That's it. Oh yeah, it's the 24th. I didn't update yesterday because I didn't actually end up doing much on the 23rd. No, 22nd. So I was working on this hat on the 22nd, but I didn't finish it, and I didn't finish any yarn either in the process. So I just didn't bother updating because there wasn't really anything to say. But finished this yesterday, and no, I didn't finish any yarn as I finished that. Still got a bit of white and a bit of that marble left. Then I made a rat out of banana blanket. Didn't finish that. The pink is Parfait Chunky. And then I made a penguin out of banana blanket as well, with a bit of Lavinia for the orange. And then finally I made this guy who did use up that full ball of yarn. And he's so cute. Look at his little eyes. This is Wonder Crochet's deer pattern, just adapted to have pointy ears and not have horns and have a tail to make it into a dog. So they're all the things I finished yesterday. And then I did also finish, oh sorry, I'm really up close. There we go. I did also finish a second ball of yarn making this guy. So making Gingerbread Man. This pattern's by the same person as my big deer was earlier in the month. So I finished one ball of Vanilla Fudge Yarnsmiths while doing it, and from the look of this one I might get quite close to finishing that one as well. So that means so far in November we have used up 28 balls of yarn, which leaves us with 88 remaining in the stash. We've used up 2,344 grams of yarn, which leaves 9,500 in the stash. And we have finished 29 out of 30 projects total for November. Again, obviously that grammage doesn't account for balls that I've only sort of semi-used. So for example, with this hat, that was 120 balls of the ball was 120 grams of yarn when I started the hat, and it's down to 40 now. That 80 grams that I used isn't included in that count. Hello, it's the 25th. I have a boring update for you today, and that is that the only thing I did was finish this guy. He's cute. He's by the same person as the big deer that I made. But yeah, didn't finish any yarn past the one ball that I'd already finished yesterday. Not yesterday, day before. Hello and welcome back to the desk and to the yarn shelves. It is the 26th today. We are getting near the end of this challenge. Well, it's not really a challenge, but here we are. Let me load up my stats. So yesterday I made this little guy. I still need to give him something to hold. He's not going to be a fishing otter. Also his ears are upside down, but we don't mention that. So I made that little guy. It's not quite finished, but we'll count him as finished for yesterday because I'm technically making an accessory. And then I made 3 capybaras. I was aiming for more, but I have done something to this shoulder. I don't think it's a crochet related injury, but it hurts. The other thing I have to tell you is that I used some balls of yarn up yesterday. So I used up a scrap of my grey on the sweater for this guy. I also finished off the ball of brown I was working on to make the feet on him and one of the cappies. Might have been 2 of the cappies actually. Yeah, it was 2 of the cappies plus the feet on the otter were one of the balls of brown, and then the other ball of brown has done the rest of the otter and one of the capybaras so far. So 2 balls of yarn were finished yesterday. that puts us up to 30 balls used in total in November. So I have used a ball for every day of November now. So we're moving into bonus territory now. Hello, it is the 27th of November, which means it's Stranger Things 5 day. So I'll be going and watching that in a minute. We'll be working at the same time, unfortunately, but life of a corporate baddie, I guess. Yesterday I finished 1, 2, 3. Can I get them all in my hands? The answer is looking like it might be no. 4, 5, 6 capybaras. And that was it. That's all I finished. I didn't finish the accessory that the otter needs. Yeah. I did finish this colour of the yarn though, which is why this guy is quite so tiny as he is, because he is what happens when I run out of yarn 2 rounds into a 4-round repeat. So compared to the normal cappy, he's tiny. My partner's claimed him because he's just too cute. So that means that so far in November I have used 31 out of 116 balls of yarn, and I have 85 left in my stash. I've used 2,591 grams out of 11,863, which means I have 9,272 remaining in my stash, and I have finished 39 out of 40 projects so far. Hello, it is way too early in the morning on the 28th. Comic-Con is today, so probably not going to get much done, but yesterday I did get a lot done. So I was focusing on doing the challenge for travel crochet for this week. So I made purple and green squid. I've made, why can I put that up there? I've made purple and green bee. That's going to go in the clearance bin. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just finish off the purple and green while I'm here. So I've made one frog. I had to finish him off with a bit of Elise Veluto. So he's got a bit of a lighter coloured bum, but he can go in the clearance bin as well. He's cute. And then I made a purple elephant. And I made a tiny little cat face that'll pop on a keychain. So then I had the white out as well, just my little scrap of Yarn Smith's white, because I was making the bee. I thought I'd finish that off, so I've made one of the Girl Who Knots dogs. And then finally, because I had the purple and green out and I had the banat blanket out to make a goose, spoiler alert, I did not make the goose. I made this guy, so that is banat on the grey and the white is banat, the pink is parfait chunky in bush, I think, and then obviously the Yarn Smith chenille in the purple and green, but I've doubled that up to make it a decent thickness to use alongside the banat. Anyone who has watched for a while will notice that this is the same pigeon that I made for my partner in October. It's just huge. I made the one for my partner in Yarn Smiths, so he's a lot chunkier. Yeah, so I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items yesterday, which was rather good going, and I used up to 3 balls as I did that, which gives me, I have to write it on my hand because my iPad's upstairs, 34 balls I've used up in November out of 116, so there's 82 left in my stash. I've used 2,723 grams of yarn out of 11,863, which gives me 9,140 grams left in my stash, and I've made 47 items so far this month. Hello. It is the 1st of December, and that means that we have come to the end of our month. of what I've made and what I've used. As you can probably tell, I haven't checked in now. It's Monday today, and I didn't check in since Friday morning, I think. That's because, to be perfectly honest, I didn't do anything extra. On Friday or Saturday, I didn't crochet for 2 days, which is the first time in a long time I think I've not crocheted for 2 days straight. But last night, well, yesterday, because we finished our shopping at Comic-Con, and we only really went yesterday because there was some panels we wanted to watch, so we managed to catch Jamie Campbell's panel. And since we were only watching panels, I took my crochet with me to the Comic-Con. I managed to sneak in one extra hat there at the end of the month, so that's used up both this blue and this white. I have this much of the white left, but I can't really make anything with that. So that will be saved for embroidery, and I'm counting the ball as done. So that means in total in November, we used 36 out of 116 balls, so I have 80 left going into December. We used 2,935 grams of yarn out of 11,863, which means I have 8,928 grams left, so just under 9 kilos of yarn going into December. The average per ball is about 85 grams per ball, so basically every ball that I have used has been just slightly less than a full ball of yarn for the way I count it anyway, because I tend to get 100-gram balls of yarn. I know some people count it as 50 grams is a skein of yarn, but those people tend to be people who work with cotton and wool a lot more. Obviously I work in chenille and acrylic, and they tend to come in bigger balls. But I'm rambling. I finished 48 projects in November, so that was adding to my blanket. I made 2 BMOs, I made a mini Perry keychain, I made a derpy tiger, I made a big Bronto, I made 1 loaf cat, 2 squids, 2 deer, a cardi, 2 mushrooms, I made a Remy, I made 5 mini cat keychains, I made 3 otters, I made 1 zip pouch, I made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hats. I made a penguin, a rat, 1 dog, 1 gingerbread man, 9 capybaras, 1 mini dog, 1 bee, 1 frog, a pigeon, an elephant, and then a different type of cat keychain. So all in all, that is 1 blanket, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wearables, and 41 plushies that I made in November, which I'm quite happy with. I was hoping to get to 50 projects. I think if I'd have pushed just a little bit harder before Comic-Con, I probably would have got to 50 projects, because I did start a goose, I just never finished it. When I say start, I did 1 round of a goose. If I'd have pushed, I probably would have got that done, and then just like an egg-shaped bird or another cat keychain probably would have cracked me up to where I needed to be. But I'm happy with what I've made. I'm happy with the amount of yarn I used. I beat my 30 skeins, so 1 skein a day goal. Managed to do that. Didn't quite get to the 40, but that's fine. That was a stretch goal anyway. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a nice day. I hope that you have a nice week. I hope that you have a nice festive season, even if you don't celebrate. And if you liked the video, could you drop it a like, because that does really help me in the algorithm, especially as a small creator. If you have the hype option, could you please drop me a hype? That again, it just helps me get to more eyes. And yeah, if you want to continue following this journey, if you want to see how my Fargo market goes, please follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that your phone will tell you when I upload. And thank you again for watching. Have a nice day.